you, everyone. Do city teammates or the city council have any non-agenda items to add this evening?
Nothing from us, Mayor.
Okay. We will move on to proclamations and recognition. And we do are proclaiming June as Pride Month in Tigard. And we have Judge Oberdorfer here. There you are. Welcome. Come on up to receive the proclamation.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Mayor. This means a lot to the whole Team Tigard. This means a lot to Team Tigard and our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Excited to see all of the different activities that we have going on for Pride Month. I believe the parade is at the end of the month this year, which should be the 29th. Thank you. You can sign up to walk, roll, or drive in the parade, and please do so. And then there is a festival afterwards. There's also lots of different things going on, such as free weddings this month. The judge can marry you. Come on down to City Hall. I've walked by it before. People have a great time at City Hall getting married. So please come on down. Would love to help you get married. And thank you very much. So public comments, if you'd like to call in now, please do so to get into the queue. The phone number is 503-966-4101. And we don't have any public comment from the previous council meeting, and we didn't receive any public written comments by noon today. And the city recorder is pulling the in-person. We're a little ahead of schedule, just moving along. Thank you. And Daniel Thompson, please come on up. You have 2 minutes, and if you want to turn on the microphone for us so everyone can hear you.
Hello, my name is Daniel Thompson. I'm a Tigard resident, and I'd like to talk about the Tiedemann Road improvements that were brought up at the last meeting. While this road has been in need of improvement for more than 10 years, which I agree it does need to be improved, I have a huge concern about the same old wasteful plans that are being presented and regurgitated from the Hall Boulevard, from the 72nd Avenue, and now to Tiedemann. The plans presented show excessively wide and wasteful 8 to 10 foot sidewalks. That much concrete would create a carbon footprint that would make Bigfoot jealous. Those could easily be cut in half while still exceeding the ADA compliance and being walkable. The planned green space with the trees is just another added expense and maintenance. The trees will do whatever trees do, send out roots and tear up the streets and lift the sidewalks. Additionally, the trees, if they survive, they will block the field of view for drivers when people jaywalk across the road. Instead, the plan could have 4 to 5 foot sidewalks, 3 to 4 foot raised bike lanes, and a 4 foot shoulder area without having to narrow the lane. Despite the common misconception, narrowing the lane does not calm traffic. In past projects that I've worked on that have narrowed the lanes and added trees, like this plan does, have only resulted in increased pedestrian accidents. Tigard needs to find a new company to provide street plans. The current company submitting the designs are only showing different shades of the same thing, and that thing is wasteful and does not work. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wold, are there any phone callers in the queue or anyone wishing to comment by video this evening?
Mayor, there are no callers in the queue and no requests for a video comment.
Okay, thank you so much. Next on the agenda is a city manager report with City Manager Reimer.
Thanks, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, councilors, members of the community, and my teammates that are here. I want to jump back to February 27th. That was the day that the council heard a report from us on the potential purchase of property for our public facilities. I'm happy to say that we have closed on that, and I think it's important to kind of give the background again on what we decided and why we decided it. So as many of you know, or all of you know, we have been looking for a space to address our failing public facilities for many, many years. Our police department, public works, facilities that we are in, all have limitations, are seismically unsafe, and just are not efficient to run for this community. Also, we have a growing community, so we have a lack of space for all of our departments, and especially our police department and public works. To address this, we've been looking for land to design and build modern, resilient, and cost-effective facilities. We came to you on February 27th with a recommendation to purchase 9.5 acres on Wall Street and off of Hunsaker. And part of that is, as part of your approval that night, you had authorized myself and the city attorney to oversee a due diligence process to make sure that everything that we needed to know about the land was satisfactory to us before we would purchase it and sign the documents. Thanks to our public works director, city attorney, assistant city manager, and others, we went through a couple-month process and determined that we knew what we needed to know about the land, and we still believed it was our best path forward to achieve our long-standing goal of designing and building those new facilities for this community. So last week on Thursday, we recorded it and closed, and so we are now the proud owners of that 9.5 acres. And our goal, as I know many of you have started to talk about, is to build a better Tigard. And so we are gonna start working towards that, and we'll have updates for all of you as we go through the process, designing a funding strategy and educating our community on the need for these facilities. So that is the highlight for the evening, but there's more. We also have a few other fun things happening. One is at our library. Speaking of facilities, our library is a very well-used public facility, as you know, and we just went through a renovation for the technology room, and so all of you are invited, as well as the community and all of our teammates, to an open house tomorrow, June 5th, from 4 to 5:30 to see the space, what it offers our community, what it offers our organization from a space for great meetings and other things. Excuse me. And the last is talking about one more event. Last year we started the tradition of celebrating the raising of the Pride flag. We did that a little earlier last year, but for a few reasons, we're going to hold it next Tuesday, which is June 11th. We'll have that at 8:45 in the morning. It's open to everyone in this room, all of our community members, all of you, to come and celebrate the raising of the Pride flag at our library on that morning. And that concludes my remarks. Thanks.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions or comments other than general excitement about the new city property? It's a big deal. It's something we had been searching for a very long time. So thank you for your update. Next, we will consider an amended and restated intergovernmental agreement on the Regional Water Providers Consortium. And we have Public Works Director Rager to assist and present. Welcome.
Guess I can. This one's a little longer, yeah. All right, let's do this. All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Brian Rager, Public Works Director. This evening, you have a amended and restated intergovernmental agreement for the Regional Water Providers Consortium. We've been a member of that consortium for a number of years and benefit from that membership. The IGA before you went through quite a lot of work with the consortium staff and with the consortium technical committee, which I'm a part of. And that work ended somewhere around May of 2023. And then the IGA was brought forward to the consortium board for consideration, and that took place on October 4th of 23, and former Councilor Singh was our representative on the board at that time. So this amended and restated IGA has several language updates, bringing it more current with different things. And as your staff member on the technical committee, I'm fully in support of the new IGA and would recommend approval. And so tonight we're just looking for your approval and execution of that document. Happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you. Can you actually just talk about what the Regional Water Providers Consortium is?
Sure. It's so I couldn't tell you offhand how many members there are, but it's literally the Portland area. It includes the Clackamas. All the water providers in our region are members of this consortium, and they come together and work jointly toward just in the interest of providing good educational materials for the public around water use and conservation. There's a work plan that the technical committee puts together, and they have a strategic plan that kind of guides that work. And so all members benefit from the topics that get discussed. We meet, the technical committee meets on a quarterly basis, and I think the board is around that same frequency. And yeah, so it's a good thing for us to be a part of this, because as time goes on and land becomes more scarce, eventually we're all going to need each other when it comes to the use of water. And yes, Tigard as its partnership with Lake Oswego, but we also have partnerships with other adjoining communities for providing emergency water. But who knows what may happen on a regional scale as time goes on. So it's good to be a part of this large group.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's a really important point, talking about potential water issues or concerns in the future and the importance of being able to have those established relationships. And just as a friendly reminder, we are a government agency, but we are also a utility provider, and we participate as a water utility provider. Are there any questions or comments? Yeah, Councilor Shaw.
Yeah, thank you so much for all the work that you put in on behalf of the city. Previous to former Councilor Singh, I was a representative, and I know their educational materials are very robust, and so is their website on how to save water and what happens if you have a water leak, things you just don't normally think about, so it's a great resource for the community. So thank you.
And just to follow up on Councilor Shaw's comment, when Councilor Wolf and I sat on the Lake Oswego Tigard Water Board, it was interesting to hear that, during a period where we have chemical shortage, we have resources from other water providers on where to get the lead for additional chemicals that are so important for treating our water. So it is vital, in my opinion, to have this collaboration with other water providers so we can share information in case of emergency. We know who to call for help, and vice versa. So thank you.
Now that we're all in agreement, this is a great thing. Would somebody like to make a motion?
Yeah, I guess that will be my comment. I move to approve the amended and restated intergovernmental agreement of the Regional Providers Consortium.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the youth counselor provide an advisory vote? Yes. Thank you. All of those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion is adopted by unanimous vote of the council. Thank you, Mr. Rager.
Thank you very much.
The next item on our agenda is the Tier 2 microgrid update, and I think we have a lot of individuals here to come and assist. And Gary Pagenstecker, the principal planner, is online. And so I will turn it over to you.
Oh, thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor Lube and City Councilors. Gary Pagenstecker, Project Planner with Community Development. Sorry I couldn't be there with you tonight. I'm a little bit under the weather. But some of the interested parties are there and some are remote attending this meeting. So tonight we're following up on the July 11, 2023 council briefing on the Tigard Energy Resilience Initiative, at which staff provided background on why we're doing this, who's involved, and defined microgrids, resiliency, and sustainability for the three-tier structure of the initiative. and on the January 16th, 2024 update on the Tier 1 Library PV and Battery Microgrid Feasibility Study, including a council resolution in support of the project for potential project funding. This presentation will first briefly share the findings and recommendations of PAE's Tier 2 Creating Community Energy Resiliency Feasibility Report included in your council packet, look at the changes within the district since the report was published, provide implementation perspectives from prospective partners interested in pursuing a district microgrid, followed by council questions, discussion, and direction. As this is a project update, no action is required of council on this item. Next slide, please. The prospective partners listed here represent some of the parties with the interest and knowledge to implement a district microgrid, including property owners, the utility, consultants in site planning, real estate, and energy modeling. Of this group, Greg Daniels with the Daniels Group and Patrick Doherty with InfoCenters will present with me to share their perspectives on the Resilience District microgrid. Next slide. The goal of the Tier 2 study was to analyze feasible resilience solutions for a district scale microgrid that meets the goals and recommendations in the City of Tigard's Community Action Plan to respond to the needs of climate change. This figure from the Tier 2 report shows a multi-owner or community or district microgrid, in contrast to the single owner, single building microgrid at the library. It includes the existing Fields Apartments and Clubhouse Resilience Hub, a future community transportation hub, and future trailhead offices. PAE's study identifies the distributed energy resources, includes photovoltaics and battery energy storage systems for facility and community resilience through an island-capable microgrid control system. The analysis explored the implementation of a microgrid system for the purpose of peak load shedding and resilience scenarios of varying duration, given the assumptions in play at the time of the study, and with the co-benefits to alleviate grid overloading, replace transmission with local production, and create local resilient spaces for the community. The Tier 2 report analyzes methods for providing local resilience with only site-owned resources, as well as benefits of a larger scale, more integrated approach that requires buy-in from both the Tigard community as well as the utility, PGE, and private enterprise. The goal being to create a win-win-win solution that provides benefits for all three stakeholder groups. The key findings of the study included a district scale microgrid design will require significant buy-in from all relevant stakeholders for this project to succeed. While solutions exist that could be built within the framework of private enterprise, the best solutions require a public-private utility partnership. Due to the limitations of the amount of PV or photovoltaics that can be built on the site, as well as the limitations on the climate region occupied by the city, a significantly sized battery is necessary to achieve the full resiliency goals explored in the report. And finally, it was recommended that either PGE or a third-party private investor is the best means for providing the battery needed for this site. Next slide. Since the Tier 2 report was published in October of 2023, there have been some changes in the district. The proposed district boundary remains the same. We see here bounded by Hunsinger and Wall Street and the Rolling Hills neighborhood to the south, I guess that would be, or east. But now within the boundary, it includes the city-owned site for the future public works, police, and emergency operations facilities. And the trailhead offices are now market rate multifamily residential. Next slide. This slide shows a conceptual distribution of the constituent elements within the district microgrid. Red dots for approximately 2 to 3 megawatts of solar photovoltaics on roofs, carports, and the pedestrian bridge. Purple shows a diagrammatic representation of a 20 megawatt battery storage system on city property, if space were available after serving the city's primary facility program. Also shown in the bottom left of the slide is the PGE feeder connection to the proposed battery. A district microgrid provides resiliency for the functions and sites identified for the district. During normal grid operations, all electrical power loads and resources within the district will be grid connected. During periods of sustained grid outage caused by weather or other emergencies or natural disasters, earthquakes, the district would isolate from PG grid, allowing its continued operation during the larger grid outage. Per the Tier 2 study recommendation, a third-party energy developer finances and owns the battery energy storage system, while the photovoltaic generation can be developed variously by each property owner or by third parties or as a community solar asset. Return back to slide 4, please. At this point, I'd like to invite the city's prospective partners to give council their perspectives on the resiliency of district microgrid. First, Greg Daniels, owner of the Trailhead Development Site, which is labeled number 1, located in the bottom right of the slide. Greg, I believe, is present in the audience.
Yeah, come on up. Feel free to have a seat. When you want to speak into the microphone, just turn it green. There's a button on front to turn it on. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Greg Daniels. I'm an owner of the Trailhead site, which is referred to in the display you're seeing on the screen. It is roughly just short of an 8-acre parcel of land. And I'm here to tell you that your city staff and you folks have put together a plan with microgrid that has caught my attention as a developer. And have to tell you that it's an outreach that I'm pleased to see happening, and I'm here to participate and tell you that that is my intention for participating in the following ways. We have the property, we are developers. The team that was shown earlier, the team of Scott Edwards, Brian Mars is in the audience, Capstone Partners, Lauren Jones is, I believe, on watching on screen, and McAdam Forbes, Kevin Vandenbrink, is the team, along with my development team, that is developing the site with the microgrid in mind. And that means that we have elements to our land that have the capacity to benefit the microgrid. Those are land, available land that was talked about, one of the shortages we have in our world, and they're not making any more of it, by the way. So the long and short of it, we have land that can be participatory in helping that microgrid be formed with a resilience hub or some element that is beneficial like that to the process. The second thing, anything we build on this site will be solar ready construction-wise. Your codes require it, and that's how we build. With the thought for the future, not yesterday. So those elements, again, express to you my clear anticipation for that property to be a benefactor of the microgrid and benefiting the microgrid with the things we can do as private developers in a private-public partnership with the city. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate your comment. Next, Patrick Doherty with InfoCenters, who, like me, is remote this evening. Patrick?
Thank you, Gary, and thank you, Mayor and Council, for the opportunity to address you tonight. My name is Patrick Doherty. I'm the CEO of InfraCenters. We're a developer of district utilities, including battery plus microgrid solutions like we're talking about tonight. And we're partnered with PAE on a number of projects, and PAE was the engineer for your BRIC grant and study for this microgrid. What we're excited about doing in partnership with the city is developing a 20 megawatt 4-hour system. Do the simple multiplication, that's an 80 megawatt hour solution that would provide about 84% of the max scenario in the BRIC grant study. And that 100% would be a 7-day resiliency period for the microgrid district. 20 is a really good number for PGE. It's the maximum number that can go in the distribution grid, but it's a magic number because PGE can trade with it and generate a little bit more revenue, so they're predisposed towards it. We're developing about 3 of those types of systems in the PGE district now, and we've been working with Portland General to develop the new program that we would submit this proposal into, called the Community-Based Renewable Energy Program. It'll be released in June. And we'd want to be able to develop a project with the city council, the staff, and with approval from the council to be able to fit it within their first round of the CBRE program. There are 3 sub-rounds of consideration, but it's going to last about 12 months starting in June. We'd like to be able to submit into that. If successful, InfraCenters would enter into a power purchase agreement with PGE, and the entire system would be what they call in front of the meter. It would be totally controlled by PGE. The microgrid would be executed by PGE, and all the district assets you're seeing on the map right now would be downstream of the battery. And that allows, as Gary was saying, for the entire district to be isolated. We call islanding the district in the event of a black sky occurrence. Could be a blackout, could be brownouts, could be the big earthquake, and continue to provide power as long as there's power coming into the battery, or there's power in the battery, or the rooftop solar that we just heard about is continuing to generate electricity. We're excited about the prospect of doing this. For the Fields apartment residents, they just suffered one of the worst outages during the recent ice storm, one of the worst outages in PGE's service area. So it's a high priority to get energy resilience to that low and moderate income community. If we were to go forward with this, we and the city staff would be coming back to you with a proposal for leasing space within that public works site. Again, only insofar as it does not affect the operations of the public works and public safety core capacities there. That's pretty much my presentation, but thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate your comment tonight. Slide 6, please, the last slide. That pretty much concludes our presentation. Also with us tonight for the Q&A session is Joe Pinzone, Construction Manager with InfraCenters, Brian Mayers, Principal with Scott Edwards Architecture, and Karina Hirschberg with PAE Consulting Engineers, and author of the Tier 2 report. I believe all 3 are present in the council chamber tonight to field questions in more depth. If council has questions, I'll open it to council for questions.
Thank you so much for your presentation. questions, comments? Everyone has, okay, so let's start with you, Councillor Vogel.
No questions, but I just want to say that I really appreciated the different point of views from partners. I thought that was really interesting and just helpful in like getting to know all the different perspectives from this. So I just really appreciate that. I want to say thank you.
Councillor Wolf.
So also, like Youth Councilor Vogel, thank you for the presentation. And I think, Gary, as I had sent you some of my questions and wonderings, I think my comments will probably be more around the study that comes back. I was talking to City Manager Reimer around the costs, right? And I appreciated the report, kind of here's a dollar sign to $4 but I'm not sure what that means. I know what that means when it comes to a restaurant evaluation, but I don't know what that means to something of this magnitude. So, and I appreciated what PGE will manage or control. So I think for me, I think it's a great model. I just seek to understand a little bit more on how it functions, how it'll work. And I don't know if more of that it comes with clarity from, I think, the report or the planning that will occur. So I'm curious and interested and looking forward to more information. How's that? So thank you.
If anyone would like to respond, you're welcome to come and sit up here in anticipation. We don't bite. We are very friendly. I will, just let you know. Yeah, come on up. Come have a seat, please.
Mayor, council members, my name is Joe Pinzone and I'm with InfoCenters. And at least to respond to one part of your question, when we're talking about the battery system and integrating with PGE and them and having them control the microgrid, one of the things is Patrick mentioned with a lease, paying money to the city for the ground use, is we take care of all the operations and maintenance. That is something that's within us. There's no cost to the city on that, and that's part of the agreement that we have in the power purchase agreement with PGE. So from at least that perspective, it's revenue generating, it's building resilience, and we bear the responsibility for the operations and maintenance of that. So if I can help from that particular aspect, happy to at least share.
I appreciate every piece because I think that's kind of the bigger budget scale. What's the investment? What's going to be the return on revenue? So thank you, Joe, very much.
Councillor Shaw.
Thank you very much. I think this is a very exciting public-private partnership, and thrilled to see too that's going to include future multifamily development, and that there's also covered bike parking and charging, and perhaps until there's further transportation options out there, there could be other avenues explored, such as a bike e-lending library or maybe even a car sharing electric vehicle opportunity. But excited for this project, and once again, City of Tigard's sort of on the forefront, so thank you.
Council President Hu?
Thank you, Mayor. So just a question maybe for Patrick or whatever is here. The report mentioned there are 3 potential funding pathways with 3 different scenarios. A microgrid owner and operator, one is property owner, one is third party, one is PGE. Based on what I heard so far, it sounds like we're pursuing having third party as the owner operator. Is that?
Yes, that would be the structure that I described.
Okay, and under that scenario, this consideration of PGE doesn't currently have a tariff option that makes this approach straightforward. But there are signs this could change in the coming years. Does that sound like a big obstacle we're facing right now from a regulatory point of view with this model?
Not a regulatory issue per se. And the utility, the report references a tariff. There's 2 broad ways that the utility could contract with this type of system. One would be through a tariff in which anybody could build one and the utility has to take the power from it. The other way is through RFPs. Currently, PGE has 2 RFPs that would qualify for this size of battery. We have one proposal into one of those RFPs. It's called the All-Source RFP. And in June, they'll be releasing the more appropriate one for this, the Community-Based Renewable Energy Program RFP. Under that program, PGE is going beyond just energy acquisition and wanting to make sure that there are community benefits associated with any of that energy acquisition. And so the nature of this system, where it's a battery, it's a very substantial battery, plus a microgrid district serving public safety, public works, low to moderate income population, provides considerable public benefit, which is exactly what PGE is looking for. So it's our hope that we can work with the city to apply within this first initial round of the CBRE, the Community-Based Renewable Energy Program. And at the end of that, then our project would receive a power purchase agreement from PGE. And then, as Joe said earlier, we would take care of all the operations and maintenance and provide the city a lease payment at the end of the day. So it would be revenue positive for the city at the end of the day.
Just wanted to add to that.
Did that-
Hi, Patrick.
did that- oh, sorry.
Just add to that is at the time we wrote the study was a year ago, and so the RFP that Patrick's referring to wasn't made public at that time, and so I wanted to just flag it as a potential risk area, knowing there was conversations in process, but sometimes, until it's official, you never quite know, and so that was kind of where that flag came from on the report there. But as Patrick mentioned, in the time since it was written, there has been significant progress, and we're feeling pretty optimistic that there is now a path forward with the PGE offerings.
Great, thank you. And that's why I was concerned about. I was like, this is a red flag for going forward, but I'm glad you cleared that up, that it's not a PGE tariff, territory, thing. It's just what you just mentioned. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
and I think your comment on how, Tigard's really at the forefront of this. That's part of this is that this is a new movement for our region, and so watching as things evolve for it. So yeah.
Got it. And another thing about the report is that it took generators off consideration, off the table. I understand this is future forward-looking, but this is more, I guess, more of a question for city teammates. If we're not taking generator off the table with any kind of resilience plan so far, right? Because as the report mentioned, these technologies are not 100% there yet. So I have concern that if we just say we're not dealing with generator, period.
Yeah, if that is directed to me, I'd say at the library, for example,
right.
The Tier 1 microgrid generators are a part of the project, an expanded generator actually, and are valuable in resiliency schemes because they back each other up. And I think that Karina can speak more specifically to that. As far as the Public Works site, Brian, he's still there, could weigh in on whether or not they're anticipating genset for that facility or not.
Good evening again. We're so just at the beginning stages of things. We just bought the property, and in the due diligence period, we didn't get as detailed as to are we going to have generators or not. I would suspect that we will, much like we do at our current public works facility. We do have a backup generator, so I would assume that that'll be part of the package.
All right. Thank you. That's all my questions.
Thank you for all the questions. I think it's exciting, right? Lots of questions, lots of, I think, potentially unknowns as we continue to be at the forefront. I do also, you look at the pictures, the battery looks fairly large, and this is a property that we just purchased. And I also want to make sure that this is probably a very elementary question, but that there is adequate room for the facilities that we purchased this for and room for a potential battery. I don't want us to, hamstring the kind of building that we can build, that we have adequate space for both what Public Works is going to need for now and the future, because I certainly hope we don't build it just for now. I hope we build it for the future, and our police facility. So I just want to make sure that that's something that we're also thinking about, this really cool potential thing because it's blank property, but also ensuring that the reason that we bought the property is being fulfilled. I'm seeing some head nods from Brian, but I just, yes? Okay.
Yes, and Brian Mowers might speak to that more specifically, or Brian Rager. I think they've discussed this point.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Mars. I'm one of the owners of Scott Edwards Architecture. And my firm has the fortunate opportunity to be involved with both projects, both on the public and the private side. So what we did on the public property as we were doing a due diligence is we took all of the program goals that the city of Tigard had for both the PD and the Public Works building, including working with InfoCenters with the batteries. So we're pretty confident, fairly confident that all of that program works within the site that you guys just purchased. So to answer your question, Mayor.
Thank you. Excellent. It's good to hear. It's a simple question, but I know the community is also going to ask, and I want to make sure that I have an adequate answer for it. Are there any additional questions or comments that have come up? Do you need any specific direction or any specific ask from us?
Well, I think Patrick made probably the most critical ask that will come to you later once it's understood better and what format it needs to be, and that relates to a lease option for the site if space is available there to meet the CBRE RFP application deadline by August, I believe. Just the other, and if anyone else has a response to the mayor's question, the only other thing I would add is that we have applied for a Oregon Department of Energy grant which we imagine PAE would do the analysis on for the district to answer many of Councilor Wolf's interest in cost and how does everybody participate in a very challenging district scale microgrid. It's potentially complex, and that study will provide the answers we need. That's a 6-month study. If we're successful, those answers should be available in March of next year. Patrick, did you want to follow up on that?
Yeah, just to underscore what Gary just said, once we are all comfortable with the siting of the system, and we have a good sense of what how to describe the area that the system would entail, then we would turn that into a option to lease instrument that we would work with the city to get approved through your proper processes and channels. And then that option would allow us to pursue the RFP. We need to be able to demonstrate to PGE that we have effective site control, and an option is evidence of site control. So that way it's an option, but it gives us all the flexibility to move forward, knowing we can do the project, but we can also, if PGE says no, that we can find either other land or reconfigure it as we need to.
Council President Hu?
Just one more comment, no question. I just want to echo City Manager Reimer's thing early on of building a better Tiger, and just say that just building new facility alone would really achieve the goal of safety, resiliency, and cost saving and better services. But this, I'm thank you everybody for your work on this. I'm very hopeful this will be the cherry on the top for even better Tiger. So thank you everybody.
Yeah, I mean, to sum it up, I think I hear a lot of excitement about the possibilities in the future with a lot of questions as far as what this exactly looks like in the details. So hopefully that is guidance for what you need, that we're excited to move forward and still have some questions, I think.
Yes, thank you very much, Mayor Lube and councilors, for your positive reception of this update. We'll be back in touch with you with the points that were discussed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for being here today. We appreciate it. We have no non-agenda items, and we will be going into executive session. The Tigard City Council will go into executive session to discuss the performance review of public officers or employees under ORS 192-6602I. All discussions are confidential, and those present may disclose nothing from the session. Representatives of the news media are allowed to attend executive sessions as provided by ORS 192-6604, but must not disclose any information discussed. No executive session may be held for the purpose of taking any final action or making any final decision. Executive sessions are closed to the public. The Tigard City Council will adjourn after the executive session. Thank you so much. Good night, Tigard.